Alright, let's all be honest before we get into the massacre at Grant Field that just happened. Georgia Tech was definitely seen as the worst 9-1 team with Division IA football. All we had to show for the last 3 weeks before the game was the loss at 4-4 NC State's homecoming game, a bye week, and a 36-34 game against 1-10 Boston College that gave every single young GT fan PTSD from the amount of yelling they heard from their parents that night. Pittsburgh was coming off 2 dominant wins against NC State, which Georgia Tech I just said lost to, and another dominant win over Stanford, albeit not a great win to have over a 4-7 team. And the iconic blowout against Notre Dame that just happened last week. The head coach of Pittsburgh, Pat Narduzzi, said after the Notre Dame game that this game does not matter if they beat Tech and Miami, which is true. There are still 3 group of conference teams ranked above him, which if they all win their conference game, then Pitt won't be able to go in, but he still plays Miami, and if he beats Miami and wins his conference game, the win over Miami is already going to rank him above all of them anyways. All he has to do is just beat Miami. But anyway, let's get into the game and see how this all happened. Oh my god. Alright, hold up. We gotta rewind here. What did the absolute hell just happened? Alright, so stop. Then Hyde Scholl under pressure makes a dot to the corner of the end, so great start for him. Gotta be honest there. Wait, why is Tech going for it off 4th? That's what you get for being risky against his top 25 defense. Pitt beats the cover forward, of course, gets a touchdown, great play, but someone still should have made a play on that. That guy's right in front of him, he could have picked that. Tech then throws their first pick since November 1st in that NC State game I was just talking about, and Pitt beats them. Why are we running man against these guys? They're way better at 1. And of course, Pitt punches it in from the 1 on the run, and just like that, it's 21-0. I wonder if it could get even worse for Tech, and they score the first 4 minutes of the second quarter. 28-0. Alright, so by now everybody has universally clicked away from the game thinking it was going to be another rout. Tech being down double digits is not uncommon for them. You had Wake Forest, which it came back from a 23-point deficit, and then you had Boston College, which it came back from an 11-point deficit. It was 1-9 Boston College, so it's not as good as, what is it now, 8-4, 8-3 Wake Forest. Either way, they came back from 2 multi-digit upsets. It's not like this is very uncommon for them. And then they go down and punch it with the QB design run, which they should have been doing. I don't know why they didn't do that first thing. And then Pitt gets stopped on a 4th and 26, forced the punt back to the Yellow Jackets, who just started to pick up steam, and you don't want to do that. And of course, Tech goes through the air this time, being able to score on Pitt through both ground and air, cutting the lead by half within 4 minutes. The recording doesn't show it when we were actually watching it, but after Pitt went down with a few seconds left in the half, they missed a field goal. Tech got fouled on, so they were able to go again, and then Pitt misses their 2nd field goal in a row to end the half. Tech's first possession of the half, they get the ball within about 5 minutes in, and they have great advances by passing downfield by Cannon, running by Jamal Haynes, and then the QB design run, of course, with Haynes King. Georgia Tech could actually score. They could make this a 1-score game, not even a half quarter in. They could.
He'll throw again on 3rd and goal, and his pass is intercepted. It's picked off by Lovelace. He might run it back. Lovelace is gone. What an incredible turnaround. It looks like Georgia Tech's going in to make it a 1-score game. Instead, a 100-yard pick 6 for the Panthers.
And watch Lovelace inside. He's hugged up at the line of scrimmage. He's going to bail on the snap. And Haynes King's never going to see him. He's under pressure. He's off his...
All was a loss for Georgia Tech, though. They still refuse to be beat without fighting back. Jamal Haynes punches it into the end zone, and how is this not a touchdown? Was he not in? Okay, now you call a touchdown. What about the clock? Okay, so apparently the NCAA could just refuse to reset the clock now, I guess. They had the whole stadium chant reset the clock if you were watching this live. Anyways, Pitt trips over themselves on a fake punt, not like they were going to convert that anyways. And Tech with about 5 minutes left makes the score a 7-point game now, making up for that pick 6 they had earlier. Although it is unlikely, Pitt hasn't scored an offense touchdown since the first minutes of the second quarter. So as long as Tech holds... Okay, what the... Well, if you want to be an optimist, then the only path for the Yellow Jackets to the playoffs now would be to 1. Beat number 4 UGA in a convincing manner to get themselves over into 3 group of 6 teams, which are still ranked above them. But the Yellow Jackets haven't beat Georgia since 2016, so it's already unlikely. 2. Have Miami lose to Pittsburgh, so then Georgia Tech doesn't have to have 2 teams, which also have 2 losses, with Pitt beating them, so that's already a head-to-head tiebreaker. Then Miami beating Pitt, who beat Georgia Tech, so then that's not 2 tiebreakers, which would already knock them out of conference championship guaranteed. 3. Have SMU lose to Cal on the road, so hopefully Georgia Tech is slightly above them, as the Yellow Jackets are still somehow ranked above them, which I'm still confused at, even as a Yellow Jacket fan myself. And then 4, have Virginia lose at home to Virginia Tech, which I do see way more possible now with the James Franklin hire and all that, plus it being a rivalry game and all, so it's going to be the one game they actually focus on, being like, what are they now, 3-8? And if all that happens, then maybe, just maybe, Georgia Tech might compete in the championship. And if they win, they could go to the playoffs. But let's be honest, that's not happening. Well, that's all I got for this week. So now I gotta go to the political wonderland of Thanksgiving and hopefully get home Friday night to watch clean old-fashioned hate. At least this week, we don't have to start the game at 8:30, so we don't have to watch until 2 a.m. to lose an 8th overtime. But that's all I got. Bye.